Welcome back to Papal Zouave International's YouTube channel. We are a historical society that promotes and defends the history of the Papal Zouaves. They were a group of brave Catholic soldiers who defended the Pope during the Ninth Crusade. We're joined here today with Mr. Lieven of the Pro Petri Sede. So we are here at the Basilica of Koekelberg, and Mr. Lieven here has a collection of his personal artifacts from that time, and he's going to give us a tour of his collection here at the museum.
Yes, I had occasion to put a small selection to give an idea of papality, the origin with Peter, evolution of the popes, the creation of the papal states, pontifical states, belonging to the Pope, during the history, how they had been erupted by Napoleon, became independent again, and then the struggle for the unifying of Italy. The Piedmont that was fighting to take the state from the Pope. We start?
Yes. Yeah, let's start with the very beginning. Okay, so we're starting at the very beginning. What year do we start?
Yeah, we start here with St. Peter. St. Peter with the escapes. So you see the tomb of St. Peter's, and that's, of course, the starting. And the first popes were martyrs who were in caves in the catacombs. And so you have the evolution. With Constantine, you have the coin, original coin of Constantine, Emperor of Rome, who allowed Christianity that became the state religion afterwards. And then you have the foundation, the gift of Pepin in 756 of an independent state. A first part of the Italian that belonged to the Pope. And during the time it will grow and grow, become more important. So you have here an original lead bill from a bill of the Pope Alexander III from 1159, original, and some coins from the 12th century of the kings of Sicily. You have the evolution, you had the popes who were refused in Avignon, for example. You have all the popes there with their monies and lead bills of their bill, and the papal documents from given out in Avignon. So you must take attention for Boniface the VIII, who made the first Holy Year in 1300. From him, you have a coin of every pope up to today, since Boniface first Holy Year in 1300. So you have money, medals, bills from all popes. Of course, in the Renaissance, you had Hadrian, the Dutch Pope, who was especially important for us.
And we see the development of the Papal States over here.
The development of the country, the different Renaissance popes, with the arts, and the problems with Luther.
Which one's the problem with Luther?
Here you have, for 500 years, Luther, a stamp given out by the Vatican.
Oh, interesting.
The gravure of the popes, the new calendar from Gregory, with the coin of the Pope, and there Canisius. It was in the Renaissance, arts, developments, buildings, very, very nice that they made. You have the coins of the different popes, printed Bible by the office of Plantin in Antwerp in 1605. The office of Plantin was, and later, after that, Moretus was the most famous printing office for the Hispanian country, who printed many Bibles and later religious books and other, of course, since all over the world. Here you have first translated in Dutch from Plantin Moretus too, from his son-in-law.
What language was that translated?
In Dutch.
In Dutch, okay.
In Dutch. And then we jump to Napoleon, the Revolution, French Revolution, and they were robbery and entered in Rome. So they took the Pope and brought him to France, where he died, Pius VI.
Yes.
And they had, as in France, assignats, the first paper money, but for Rome, for Italy, it was an own currency.
So the coins from Napoleon you mentioned.
Yes, Napoleon came in Italy and became a king of Italy. And as they did in France, they had assignats, first paper money, in Italy too, but they had their proper money, paper money. And then you have the famous Concordate. Yeah, that's the portrait, the gravure of Pope Pius VII, who went to Paris to coronate Napoleon to become an emperor. And that's a medal with the Notre Dame de Paris of Paris, and the other side the Pope. And when he came back in Italy, there was that other coin with the bridge that he crossed to enter again in Italy. And he made an accord, a concordate with the Church and Napoleon.
Pope Pius XII.
Yeah.
Yes.
You see that. Here, after, you have Pope Leo II, 12, Leo XII is a coin and his memory card. And then they had gendarme for the, to make order in the country. And that is a document from the gendarmerie 1 year after they have been created. But
So for those that don't know, my English audience, the gendarmerie are the papal military police.
yeah, in the province.
Yes.
To keep order. And of course they needed money, so they had a bond. And this is a bond from 1822.
So a papal state bond.
To give money, to give a loan to the Pope, to keep running the state. And then we're passing.
So Gregory the 16th, the Pope before Pope Pius IX, to Pope
Yes,
Pius
and
IX.
as we saw, after him we had Gregory 16th, and then Pope Pio IX in 1846. But on that moment, as we told, Italy was divided in different parts. You had Sicily and Napoli. You had the Holy See, you had Piedmont, you had Naples, you had Florence, Milan, Venice, and here you see how it was divided. And here you have monies from all those independent states. And stamps, the original stamps, and then the commemorative stamps when there was 100 year existence of stamps, 125 years and so on. As you have here, the stamps of the King of Naples. Each coins.
Awesome. So that's the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies.
Yes, the two Sicilies. And this was to commemorate in 1985, done by the Vatican, all the stamps from Vatican, from Napoli, and so on. Our history of the Zouaves is, in fact, defending the state of the Pope against the Italian who would be fighting for unifying all the country to make only one state. In the center, you have a card with the King of Italy.
That would be number 36. For those
Yeah, Umberto. Yeah, you have Victor Emmanuel, you have the Pope, and so on. And there you have the Garibaldi.
Number was the one on top.
Fighting
35.
the Pope, and then a portrait of Francisco II of Naples.
Who's now a servant of God. So
Yes.
servant of God, Francis II.
Victoria.
Number 34.
Victor Emmanuel II. And that was a picture, a joking picture from the Pope and the King of Italy, arm by arm, as a good friends.
Yeah.
They were fighting.
Yeah.
And then the memory card of Gregory XVI with the Benemerenti from the Pope and a letter from that time.
So the Benemerenti medal is a medal that the Papal Zouaves could get for good conduct.
The Pope gave for good when somebody did something special. He was remunerated by the medal of Benemerenti. And then we start with the history. 1846 election, the original newspaper with the first portrait of the Pope, the new Pope, Pio IX.
Wow.
That was the first portrait in the world sent as the new Pope in the newspaper of those days. Something special is, as we told, we had that fighting for that unified, for making one, all Italy. This is a heavy lead medal that the Pope gave for an amnesty. All people who made trouble was being forgiven. It was a great amnesty of the Pope.
So for those who were granted amnesty by the Pope, they just had to hold on to this stamp to prove that they were forgiven?
No,
No.
it was general amnesty.
But the medal, what's the connection with the medal and amnesty? Were they given the medal or something?
No. That was commemorate
Oh, to commemorate it.
of that act.
Oh, okay.
Of the, you have a decoration and you have a
Yes.
medal
Okay.
for a holy saint or something. Typical here, you have medals with the Pope and the King on both sides.
Oh, interesting.
One side the King, other side you have the Pope. It's not normal in the first side, but it's typical.
Which, so is this Victor Emmanuel? Are these
No.
one of the dukes?
Yes.
Oh, one of the, okay, so this is one of the
You have to
these
clean the
dukes.
catalog.
Yes.
I have to see. You have here the bills of asseration, the Commando of Spoleto will become famous because they were defending by the St. Patrick, the Irish, in the Purple Army. That was a document from Spoleto from 1845. A letter signed by the Pope Pio IX himself.
Oh, wow.
Signed, and it was a letter he was sending to Marseille to the bishop in France. There was a jubilee in 1850, but in minor, asked the Pope us to fly for Garibaldi and go to Napoli, Gaeta, where he stood.
So you're saying it was back when he fled to Gaeta?
In 50, the French came,
Yeah.
and so he could come back. Here you have the medal of Gaeta to commemorate the passing of the Pope in exile. In 1849, there was a rebellion, so that the Carabinieri chasseurs had to go to make order.
Yeah,
It was a famous fight, and so there was that medal stuck by the Pope to thank all those combatants.
So in 1849, the Pope, there was a Roman revolution, and he had to leave for a short time in Gaeta. And the French came and helped to liberate Rome, and they were given this medal in commemoration.
Yes, and in 59 too, there was quite a lot of troubles, and the Italian came and took the Lombardo.
Yes.
But that's other story. First important thing was 58, the announcement of the Immaculata.
Yes.
And he erected that monument where every year the Pope is still coming to memorial for the festivity. And that's the medals of the original medals in the original case of that.
Oh, wow.
Effect.
So it was celebrating the dogma, proclaiming the dogma of the Immaculate Conception.
And this is another important big medal for the Dutch from 1853. That was the moment that there were new bishops allowed in Holland. Before it was only Protestant, but from that moment they had again freedom of Catholicism, and he had new bishops. And that is to commemorate
So
with the
different coat of arms of the bishops.
coat of arms of the provinces.
So because of Blessed Pius IX, the hierarchy was restored in the Netherlands and England.
Renovation of Catholicism, and that will follow by the tsunami of the Zouaves to go to Rome. Of course, meanwhile, you had a part of the French army standing in Rome to secure the Pope. And this is a card of entrance for their how shall I say, their club, the club of the French soldiers in Rome, to allow them to enter in 1854. So you have an idea of the different countries in Italy, and they were bring together in 1859 by the Piedmont, by the Italians. And here you have, as we saw, the first years of Pope Pio IX. To have an idea what he did, out of the important amnesty, you have all the medals of Benemerenti given out by Pope Pio IX. You had the first order in bronze and silver. You had the medal with a ribbon or without a ribbon. You have the second in bronze, in silver, with a ribbon no ribbon, and then the gold one.
Yeah.
As the Zouaves who were in Albano with the cholera became.
Yes.
And then you had the first class, the very first class, first, second, third, and the fourth class. And that was in bronze and in silver, with the ribbon, without the ribbon. But I knew if there was a gold too, I suppose, but never had been seen. Even the golden of the second class, I only know mine, and that in the boss. So it's hard to fight it. And then the Zouaves, most the officers became not the medal, Benemerenti, but they became a military order. Sylvester or Gregorius. But with the coat of arms for the military.
Oh, okay.
It's special.
So this coat of arms is
especially only for the military.
for the military.
Yeah.
So these papal knighthoods were typically given to the soldiers for their conduct.
I am a great officer of the order of Gregory, but I have a laurier instead of the coat of arms.
So number 37 is going to be the Order of St. Gregory the Great, and number 38 is the Order of Pius IX.
Of Pius, only officers became it. A single Zouave, but normally not, because that was really something special. And nowadays, honestly, I know only one who has that medal of Pius XI order, and that was a captain of the Swiss Guard.
Okay.
A friend of mine.
Yes.
But I know nobody else today who becomes, I think the highest is Gregory today, even for diplomats.
So the
Of course, the King Baudouin, but that's out of that's out of range.
The Papal Zouave officers could become members of the Order of Pius IX, but typically not the enlisted. The Papal Zouave officers became
Mostly.
It was the enlisted who didn't.
But in special, not the normal way.
Okay.
But Gregory was normally the most
Common.
and then Sylvester, Gregory, and then Pius. And here you have all the stamps from the Pope States. In Scudo, don't forget that you have a difference between up to the 1st of January the 1st, 1867, you had the Scudo in Baiocchi as the money in the Roman states. So you have all the stamps, different stamps, without carteling, and a lot later on with, hoe noemt je dat? Getande zegels en ongetande postzegels. Yeah, that's
It's okay.
you know that is without, and the other you can.
Yes, it's the edges. It's
The edges. Okay.
Oh yeah. And here, that's all in Scudo and Baiocco. And here you have all the money, all the coins of the Papal States into different ways in Scudo and Baiocchi. From the smallest up to the biggest 5 Scudo. And here you have all one Scudo in minor and the bigger one. The 2.5 and the 5 in gold. So it's all the series. Of course, our Zouaves had most all that copper money, huh?
Yeah.
You can imagine.
Yeah, because they didn't get paid that much.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm seeing something about Xavier Moreau.
That's the complete series, huh? In Scudo. Yes. In Baiocchi.
So what's going on with Moreau, the first papal minister of arms?
Yeah. That's the letter of his death of the minister of war from the Pope. And here is beside with the other cardinals at the throne. And there you have different pictures of the Merode, the Minister of War, and there together with other prelates. And here again with the Pope. And in a group you can easily find out who is the Merode when you see his nose.
Yeah.
It's typical.
So Merode was very important because for
Yeah.
the formation of the Zouaves, correct?
Yeah, of course.
Maybe you could explain just
Yeah.
really quickly about that.
And on the number 48, you see
Yeah.
a document done in lettering by and signed by the Prime Minister della Armee, Saverio de Merode.
Ah.
That's a document.
The Papal Army. Yeah.
For Velletri, making arrangements by the minister, Prime Minister himself. When the Romagna was taken by the Italians, they didn't dare implement it directly in Italy. So they made a temporary council. And that were the stamps of the Romagna, Ferrara, Ravenna that they took. Here you have the original, Alta series, and then the Mamberti. And then we go to the more historical period. You have the all Italy there, and of course they had need of money, and that was a new bond. And in Belgium, in Ghent, at the end of 1859, DMT and Alcantara, big industrials, noblemen, founded Le Denier de Saint-Pierre, raising money for the Holy Father.
Ah. Peter's Pence.
Yeah, Peter Saint. And that's the original from of that association. And to raise money in all parishes, they asked the people from the church, give regularly a cent, only a cent, 5 cents, a little bit. And then they became that image, token made from that original photograph.
Ah.
You have the original picture of the Pope, and they made a gravure of that portrait, and from the St. Peter's penning, Denier de Saint-Pierre, St. Peter's, that was then given for those who gave 5 cents or something. Here, that's the imitator, the great man, the important man. And then the Montpellier de Védrin, that was in the Walloons, who promoted raising money and candidates to go as Zouave to Rome.
Oh.
And so they made a pontifical company to make publicity to go to Rome fighting for the Pope. And here you see the recruits in Brussels coming by the council to make a temporary engagement.
Yeah.
That is that's the very first, perhaps, but I tell you already, the very first who took engagement was a guy from Aix-la-Chapelle, Aachen. And that's nice too. You have the bark of St. Peter.
Yes.
Yeah, you know that. But that's the photograph of the picture, and then a gravure. And you have a Zouave who made that for his praying card when he died. I have an article about him. And this is a very famous too. The Montpellier, and that is his death guard with a Zouave on the side of the Pope. I have an article about that in one of those magazines, you see, with more explanation. So, they made a council in Brussels, and the first candidates to go to Rome entered. And the first one was a guy from Aachen. They had medical control. They had to bring in passport and good Catholicity and documents. And then they signed for 4 years a document temporary. And they went to Rome. The Franco-Belgian, later they called them Zouaves, in 60 were with de la Mauricière, the general, the Pimodan from the 1st Brigade, and the Bec de Lièvre, number 10, who was the commander of the Franco-Belgian, the Zouaves. And that is an original flyer, paper, distributed in Italy with the resume announcing the first battles.
Oh, wow.
In September 1860. When the Zouaves came in, that was the Livre Militaire, their military book from den Bosch, one of the first Zouaves, with his death card and so on. Here you have Cardinal Thuin, who was killed in Castelfidardo, a memory card, and a special medal given by the French Catholics to the Pope to commemorate Castelfidardo. Here you have the uniform of the Franco-Belgian, inspired. It were French uniforms, and later on they became the Zouave uniforms.
So during the Battle of Castelfidardo, for number 23,
most let's say half and half had their Zouave dress, the others
still half and half.
hadn't.
But by after 1861, they're all on the right hand
And
side.
then
all like that.
You had to unify the Kingdom of Italy with the first stamps of Italy. But here you have a gravure from the date, from 1860, 61, of the Battle of Castelfidardo. And this is the medal of Castelfidardo, the normal and the reduced size. In 1960, with Pro Petri Sede, the descendants, children, grandchildren from the Zouaves, we made a replica of commemorating that medal. I became it at the end of the 60s. I'm the only on this moment who has already still that medal.
Oh, wow.
And so the other is a little medal for the Italian.
Yeah.
For the Italian heroes.
Oh, so they got a small medal, but then the Papal Zouaves got a big one.
Yeah. But you see the two sides of the Castelfidardo.
Yes.
And then to have an idea how it worked when the Zouave went to Rome, this is one Zouave, Adam.
This is one Zouave's paper.
This is only one Zouave. Here, he had a recommendation of his pastor, of his
And that's the blue one?
priest. Yeah.
Okay.
And then he had to sign feuille d'enrôlement, temporary engagement. Then he came in service with that other in Rome after a control, medical control and so on. And he was placed in he became the matricule 2320. He was designed for the Zouaves. and he could enter in his company. After that, he had a ticket, a bill, for all his equipment.
Oh, he got charged for his equipment. It wasn't free.
Everything that he became. A rifle, a costume, a barret, and so on. A bayonet. And then you have the table of his service. If he was decorated, if he was in battles, or in what companies he was. And then he became a corporal. Yeah, that is, I'm sorry. Then you have other notes which, when he was punished or not. So you can see what if somebody, wasn't sleeping on his guard, he was punished.
Oh, his punishment.
So that's a note with all punishment.
So how punished was he?
Yeah.
Was he a good one?
He was a good one.
Okay.
But I published an article in Pro Petri Sede of one who was more punished than not punished.
Okay.
So you have holy and less holy Zouaves. That's his picture in a costume of a Zouave. And then he was mentioned in the regiment order when he became a corporal. You see, his inscription as a corporal. After that, he became a sergeant in the 6th Company, 2nd Battalion. And then he was moved to the 2nd Depot. Normally, when they became in grade, they changed from company. It's normal when you're a corporal and you become a sergeant, you move.
Yeah, you switch companies.
You switch
to avoid those fraternizing relationships.
This was his military book with all informations when he was paid and so on, with all information. So he had a manual for the exercises, the battalion exercises and so on. And he took a diary. Every day he noted what was happening. He could make some
doodles.
Yeah,
some drawings.
That was the man, the most important of the battalion, the postman.
Oh, the postman.
Yeah, the most postman. When we were in military service 60 years ago, the most important was the postman too, because we had no telephone, we had no mail, we had nothing 60 years ago. We were 1 year long in Germany, so we were happy to have a mail, a letter.
Yeah.
The postman is the most important. And then, after the Battle of Mentana, he received the Cross of Mentana. That's the original document. And he was in the 2nd Company of Deposito, number 2, when he became an holiday. That's the document giving a holiday to him.
Okay.
And then, that was not, of course, noted in the regiment orders when he went in holiday. Normally, when they left the company, they were transmitted to Oran. Oran.
Oran.
Yeah, out of the rank.
Oh, out of the rank. Okay.
When they came back from holiday, they were moved again in their company. So he was moving to the depot. First, when he went to holiday,
and that's because
he was noted coming out of rank, and then he came back, he was noted too.
That's because some of them took really extended holidays, correct?
Yeah. And there you have a notebook of his company. It was the Sergeant Major who took all notice, and you have here the section, half section, and the escouade.
Oh, wow.
All the members are noted.
So
in the escouade.
So the escouade is similar to a platoon for English-speaking audience.
You have the company, you have the peloton in the section.
Yes.
and the section is a sergeant. Normally. Here you see, you have the first half section, the second half section, and you have the first escouade.
Oh, it's just
the second in the first section. Of the Fournel.
Yeah, so to say it's Du Fournel's. That's one of the
Fournel,
that's one of the martyrs for the Papal Zouaves, and we have a book about him.
And then, of course.
So was this when he was a sergeant? Du Fournel was a sergeant in charge of this squad?
Yes, but he's noted inside, but he was not holding that book. It was written by somebody else. But it's interesting because everything is noted in when they had excursion, when they were sick or new.
I get it. So this is when he was a lieutenant. Du Fournel, that's his section, and those are his squads. So escuadra is a squad, not a platoon. Mm-hmm. So first section is his platoon.
But so you can see in what escouade they were.
Interesting.
Because it was not because the battalion was in such of another place that company was there too.
Okay.
Or that peloton.
Yeah.
That's different. But these are the details. And then you have the plumeau of the callback.
Yes. So that was the
callback, as you have seen in Oudenbos. But so you see that there are different kinds. And then for the gesp of the officers.
Yes, for their belt. Yeah. So the clasps are for the belt, and is for the plume is for their fancy cover that they would wear in like a dress uniform occasion.
It's original. All those Zouaves were religious, and they liked to have documents with relics. And so you have the relic from the flagellation of the Christ at Good Friday.
So this was wrapped,
Holy Friday.
And this was wrapped around the stone.
Put around the stone.
So it's a third class.
That is just the length surrounding the column.
And they would keep this with...
And they kept that home as a relic, religious. Here is from another relic with, of course, the seal that it was authentic. Just to give an idea, I have more of those. And then he came at the end, and that was his goodbye.
His release paperwork.
All his company numbers, his signature, his face, his description, if he was good in serving, not punished, and signed by everybody, and then he could go home. And of course, when he came home, he married with that woman. It was the first identification case card, 1909, of his wife. And then he died in Ghent. His memory card, praying card, in Dutch and in French. In those times, in Ghent, it was bilingual in 2 languages. So you have an idea.
Two whole layers,
Rome of the soul, yes.
So 2 whole stacks just dedicated to the one Papal Zouave of this document.
And that's are the buttons,
Yes.
The small and the bigger one.
So what about on this third layer?
Yes, here you have the congregation of the Holy Virgin, made by the chaplain Sacré, who was the president of the Belgian College in Rome, who was volunteer chaplain at the Battle of Castelfidardo, and after that he was the founder of the congregation. And this is the list of the first members of that congregation. You shall see all Flemish and Belgian and Dutchmen. And here you see Herbert Wieme, who died, Krambrugge, Behiels, all members of the congregation. Is always not there. And the note of it. That's the prayer book of rules I've all study about rules in the magazines, and signed by Sacré. You saw yesterday a similar in Oudenbosch. Documents of the congregation. This was a famous Zouave, Misson,
Number 10.
who died number 9, and was geschreven in the college,
Oh,
the Belgian college.
9 and 11.
That's 11. And here you see in the college more than one Zouave who are buried there.
This is in
the chapel of the old Belgian college in Rome.
So this is in the old Belgian college in Rome.
Yeah, I have all those pictures, of course. But there you have the tomb of Misson, and here is that letter. And then you have the chaplains, de Bourmont, de Hambra. He was already at the Krim with the French, fighting at the Krim as a chaplain, and then became afterwards. And here, that's the famous, with the Irish, sorry, the name, the famous who lost his leg.
His left
You can find it, but he's very, very famous.
I posted about him before. I posted about him before.
Yes, but he's famous and interesting for the Americans because he was an Irish. See that with the Moulmont together. It's a very famous picture. And here, the Van Steenkisten with their memory cards and so on.
Number 5 is what? That black document in the back?
Yes, that is a membership of the congregation.
Oh, another member. So that's a personal membership card. Okay.
And this was a stamp of the chaplains.
Oh, cool.
Of the pontifical Zouaves.
Interesting.
And that cards of Zouaves who died, but were member of the congregation. And as I told you, and you saw too in similar documents, and with the blessing of the Pope for the Zouaves that they took home. That's similar.
Yeah.
You saw.
So it's a blessing. It's a blessing that the Papal Zouaves would try to receive from the Pope for their families.
And
to
so
get back home.
we arrived at 67. They needed money again. That was for raising up money, the loans, with the famous Porta
Treyarch.
Pia, and then the monument, the column.
The Immaculate Conception column.
Of the,
And this is the Porta Pia, you said?
Yeah, I thought so, yeah. And there, the 1st of January the 1st, 1867, it was finished with a scudo and it became a lira.
Oh, okay.
Lira and cent. And so you have all the stamps in lira and in cents. And here you have all the monies in lira, cent. And here the golden, even 100, but that's a replica. The 100, and I'm missing the 50.
Yeah.
Hey.
What are you going to do?
No, not only too expensive, but you can't find it.
Yeah.
You can find it. You're a specialist with the museum, but all those, even the gold ones.
And then down here we got more portraits of the Zouaves and Pius XI.
Yeah, yes, that is then the medals with the Pope. And then you have Albano, huh?
Yes, your book on Albano.
Yes. And the prayer card for the heroes of the Zouaves. Here you have one of those Dutch who died.
And this is during the cholera outbreak, for those that don't know.
With the cholera
The
operation.
Papal Zouaves were
With the cooperation,
gallantly gave themselves to help those cholera victims, putting themselves at risk.
Yeah, and it is the monument to commemorate the Dutch Zouaves who died in Albano on the cemetery of the cholerics. This plate. And then you have a letter to Tushimi when he became a corporal. to gratulation. Huh?
Oh,
You
okay.
know how it is. Huh?
Yeah.
So this was by comrades sent to him, and the other when he upgraded again, the original. And that is then old photograph of that painting that you saw
At the museum.
at the museum.
above.
Yeah. And then you have the number 19, Teresimo, was their commander
Yes.
in Albano. You have here the aircraft who died. And number 20, he is very famous, forgot the name, but he was in Albano, but he became especially famous because he was one of the Zouaves who were victim of the collision of the Battalion, the ship from Marseille to Civitavecchia with Zouaves who had a collision with a Norwegian ship and sunk.
Oh man, that's unfortunate. How many?
A number of Zouaves were killing in that way, and he was one of them, the number 20.
Yes.
This was a little book published in Holland about the Zouaves who were in Albano. Most of them, or a main part of them, were Dutch ones. And here you have a site of the cemetery, and here the Cardinal Altieri, his portrait, and the modern picture of him to hope, to pray for being beatified.
Beatified.
Yeah. And this a silver medal that the Pope Pio IX is visiting the sick in the hospital, this St. Spirito in Rome. This is a hospital, and that's the medal from the Pope visiting all those sick. And this is very special. That's a choleric letter. Now we made harm of the corona, but we have medicines, we have everything, and we know what's happening. But in those days, the cholera was there, and the victims, and they died in 10 minutes. Nobody knew what it was. So the only thing that he had to prevent was lock up everybody. Nobody could enter or leave the city. Guarded with a gun. Nobody could enter. And even when there came a letter from Sicily, for example, he made the two with a knife, and they blow chlor to disinfect
Oh yeah,
the letter.
So you can see the night.
Letter that you can see that was disinfected.
And you can see where there was cut with the knife right there. You put a hole through it. I mean, not a hole through it. You put a paper through it. Very interesting. And for those that don't know, Cardinal Altieri, why people want him to be beatified is because he gave his life basically for the victims in Albano. When everybody left Albano because it was a terrible outbreak. There was no one there to help them, and then the Zouaves came in. But Cardinal Altieri stayed.
Okay. So we are in 1867. Yeah, reduced territory of the Pope. Oh, Peter?
Yes.
Reduced territory of the Pope.
Now it's just the Lazio region.
Yeah. And then you have the newspaper from that date with a picture of the Serristori Kaserne that was exploded by being mining by the Garibaldi.
Yes.
The Italians. And that was where the Zouaves had their caserne. Lucky, there was just an alarm outside Rome at St. Pauli, so the most were out, especially musicians. And Cornet, Walloon, a Zouave, was there and has been killed. And I have an whole study about him that I published. But that's the original first picture of the series story in the newspaper from that date.
So the Garibaldians, what they did was they mined underneath a Papal Zouave barracks and they blew it up, and it killed some 20-something people and like 3 or 4 civilians, and one of them was a little girl.
Yeah.
And many people from the music battalion were there that were killed because they weren't out patrolling like the other Zouaves were.
Yeah. And then it's very interesting. That's an authentic letter written by Chancellor, General Chancellor himself to his wife. It's an original letter from Chancellor to his wife. Yeah. And a portrait of the general.
Yes.
And the Zouave who had that portrait, he colored it.
And he colored it. So they were that devoted to their leaders that, and even Pius IX have seen colored. They would
of course, in those days there was no color picture, photography. And then you have the commanders. You have the Charette, you have Alet, and so on.
So Charette is going to be number 46, Alet 14, 13.
16 is the Charette, 14 and 13 Papa.
14
yeah, 16, 17, 18 is the Charette.
Yes.
And the 18 is colored too. You see?
Yes.
And then you have in Bagnorea the first Zouave, Dutch Zouave who was killed. That is his memory card of High Camp of Amsterdam. And then you have others who were killed in battle. And of course, monte-libretti with Peter Young.
And number 26 is the lieutenant that fell, Arthur Guillaumin.
Yeah.
And Peter Young was the one that clubbed 14 Garibaldians to death at the Battle of monte-libretti.
And an old picture, photography of the painting from Oudenbos of the monte-libretti. But an old photography of it. You see,
yes,
it's an old-fashioned one. And that is a stone coming from monte-libretti.
Oh, wow.
It was taken by a Zouave and brought home.
That's really cool.
And here you have Boelen, a Dutch officer. You have here Desclée of Belgium, etc. Desclée, Bordeaux. But this is important too. The Serhistoric Kaserne was blown up, and later on in Antwerp, the old Zouaves collected money to make a commemorative plate for the Serhistorie with the names of those who died. And that was offered at the Charette in Basmont. But it was original, founded and collected the money in Antwerp for those the old Zouaves.
For those that don't know, Basmont.
The Serhistorie Kaserne.
For those that don't know, Basmont is the area where de Charette and his family lived, and there's a lot of Papal Zouave artifacts over there.
We'll see that in a moment. And in the 1950s, children had their toys. They played with Zouaves, but it were officers, of course, on his horseback. And you see the two little differences of them. And then you have, of course, Mentana.
Yes.
The newspaper with the first gravures, pictures of the battle, the Vigna Santucci, and storming the castle of Mentana. And there you have the Garibaldist with Garibaldi as a toy. And then Huygen with his memory card and his picture, who died. Alcantara, who died in battle. Muller, the famous Muller, imported. He was the son of a professor from the University of Leuven. And I have a study published in the magazine about the source, the recruitment between the students of the university, that they were the first starting. Mamberti, who was the very first to sign in Brussels, was a student from Leuven to university. And here you have Gilman, that was a Belgian officer who died. Here de Roek, who died. And then global commemorate card for all the Zouaves who died. Here you have the portraits of all Zouaves who died, a part of them. Here a fellow who lost his left arm.
Number 10?
10. He lost his arm.
Oh, yeah, we can see no R.
But there was still worse, as you see here the Dutch in the casino. The picture, the photo you saw yesterday in Oudenbos. And then you have the commemoration of the Battle of Mentana.
With the Mentana medal.
With the first day cover of the maxi card with the stamp in Italy. And a picture of the battle. And then a very old portrait of the erased monument of Mentana of the Campo Santo. You see
number 22.
How small the trees still are.
Yeah. So the Campo Verano Cemetery, there was built a monument to dedicate to the Papal Zouaves who fell at Mentana.
And that's the middle of the Mentana monument on the Campo Santo in Rome. But that photo was taken a little bit after erasing the monument. And then in December, everybody gathered on St. Peter's Square to become from the Pope the Mentana cross.
Oh, to receive the Mentana cross. So this is
And there you see from the newspaper the gravure from that moment that the Zouaves and the other
you see them in the
members of the Pope's army are arranging on St. Peter's to become their medal.
That's very cool, to receive their Mentana cross. That's very cool.
From today, the newspapers from that moment. And of course, the Pope went to the Garibaldins, prisoners in Sant'Angelo, to benediction to them, because quite a lot said, sorry, we didn't knew what was happening. We were on roads, and okay, I'm so sorry.
And there's a famous line he said during that meeting. He said something along the lines of, are you scared of me, an old man?
Yeah. The medals and the minori. The big and the small one, recto verso. And then, of course, you had the pontifical works here in Belgium, Brussels, for the recruitment, and that they had their own bulletin. And that is a bulletin speaking about that they had to make uniforms. They were missing uniforms for the soldiers, the Zouaves in Rome, and so on.
So this bulletin was used to help fundraise for the Zouaves who needed financial assistance for uniforms.
Those days, and here is a letter of Dutch Zouave from Friesland, from Holland, the Netherlands, who moved afterwards to Belgium, and he wrote his letter at home, but with a paper of the Belgium club in Rome.
The Belgian Dutch
Zouaves, St. Joseph.
So this stamp right here is the stamp for the Belgian Dutch
Belgian
Club.
Zouaves, as you have that photo with all those invalids on the Dutch
For the
casino. That was for the Dutch. That was for the Flemish.
So for those that
So you see, even a Dutch Zouave came to the Belgian casino of St. Joseph and vice versa.
So for those that don't know, the different nationalities in Rome have their own unique clubs or areas where they could recreate. So the English had it, the Belgians, the Dutch, the French. So that's stamped specifically from the club, and the Belgian club is called St. Joseph's.
Called St. Joseph's, yeah. And then here the big medal of the Pope, and besides the famous Belgian Remington
Stamp.
the stamp, imperial stamp, the gift of the Belgian Catholics. That's the stamp you need in your gun. And that's not easy to have. Most haven't. I think that we are the only who have one. But it's in Leuven here, defended. Not allowed here. And then you have, again, 1st Battalion, 4th Company, the captain, Desclée, the lieutenants, and then sergeant major, sergeant corporals, and again,
Interesting.
all the notice, escouades, sections, and everything, everybody
So on the left,
mentioned in those documents.
so on the left-hand side, we have the battalion and the company from that battalion. On the right-hand side, we have the NCOs of that battalion. On below, on the left-hand side too, you have the lieutenants who were in charge.
I shook my knee to step. Okay. Here you have Vincenzi, the Dr. Vincenzi from Corsica, who was the medical doctor already in Castelfidardo and all during the time.
So this was
He was the head of medical services.
wow.
Was Zouaves.
So
And then
he probably dressed Pimo in and helped out while he was wounded at Castelfidardo.
Pimo then not, because there was a crowd.
Too many people.
Pimo then was helped by Staten, a student in medicines from Leuven, who was a normal soldier, a Zouave. But of course, as he was nearly a doctor, he was there and he stood with the Pimo down. You see? And the other is the Flemish Dr. Van der Planke from Kortrijk. Is that card? Flemish, French, etc.
So this is another Flemish
Flemish card
medical. So Flemish medical
for the
soldier.
Dutch and the Flemish. Okay, because you can imagine when you know a little bit French, but if you have to explain that you have pain in the stomach or in the neck, and it's a little bit difficult. So it was important to have a Flemish.
So this is the uniform of a.
This is desk card in Flemish and in French. You have with the portrait, no portrait. You have 4 kinds. And then you have his working uniform and his Schalat uniform.
So these are
medical service.
uniforms.
Yeah, medical uniforms.
So were the medical services part of the Zouaves, or were they a separate?
You have all the explanation in the cholera book with all the infirmiers, all the Zouaves who were in the medical service, the doctors, and so on. And then here you have different Zouaves, officers, and so on. There is a picture of the camp Hannibal in Rocca di Papa with the tents for 6 men arranged. As
6
we
men.
spoke yesterday, and we saw in Oudenbos.
So 6 men per tent.
Yeah, arranged. And then we have a section of Janssens, a Zouave from St. Nicholas, with Pope Pius XI, let's say from 1950, for just children playing. And there he was a soldier with his equipment. Then he became a corporal, and then he became a sergeant. Always a different picture.
Yes. So we have him in the very beginning as a private on the left-hand side, number 11, number 11 on the right-hand side of his equipment. And here we see him becoming a sergeant at number 14.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, 14 is him, corporal. Yeah, corporal. And then 15 is 16 is sergeant.
Something special was they loved to the Holy
The Holy
Stairs
Stairs, yeah.
in Rome. So that was a picture he brought himself with him. And that is his original album from all photographs from Zouaves and from Rome that he brought, that he collected from friends and so on. And then you have his death memory card. He became very famous as a politic man, as a writer poems in St. Nicholas. He built a magnificent, a very nice building, house, and at the facade, the front, in front of the gate, there was a bust of Pio IX.
Oh,
You can still see it in St. Nicholas today.
that's cool.
Yeah, that's nice to know. And then you have the Daniel, Monsignor Daniel.
He was one of the
The chaplain for the French, and the Gerlach from Luttisch, from Liège, for the French Inter, and then the others. And here you have the prayer book. The prayer book
Oh, for the Dutch Papal
Yeah.
Zouaves.
for the Dutch and the Flemish. And besides the number 81 is de Wilde, the Dutch chaplain, who was the director of the Dutch casino.
28.
Yeah.
Okay, 28.
28, yeah. And then the others, that's all the different, all Dutch, Langveld and so on, all the chaplains. And these are two bulls,
Papal bulls.
papal bulls with their let bull from Pope Pio IX. Two. I have a third at home, but I had no place here. But so you have an idea how it was folded, and here it's open. It's the smallest. The other are bigger, you see? But that gives you an idea of a papal letter.
Yes.
These are the let bills of Pio IX. There you saw it from Alexander III, 1159. Little bit older. And here then we have daily life of the Zouaves afterwards.
So after 1867, after the Mediterranean campaign.
Yeah. You had the Petit Echo de Rome, a daily newspaper in Rome with all news and so on. A view of the esplanade, St. Peter's Place, but with the sight into town. And here you have a nice picture with photography of the famous brothers Alessandro, with all the Zouaves and other corps soldiers.
Oh, so this is during
ranges, and you see all the people coming with their charge,
Yeah, this is a
with horse, carried by horse.
so this is a
and so on.
military formation in front of St. Peter's.
Yes,
Basilica.
yes. And that is with the Eastern to be blessed by the Pope.
Interesting.
Yes. Okay. Then an important moment was 8 September 1869, the opening of the council.
Yes, the first.
Here you have the newspaper from today with a scene of the opening of the council, and afterwards there was a great parade by the troops, and the Zouaves were applauded enormously by the cardinals. And that's the original newspaper from that moment. And here you have the newspaper with the declaration of the infallibility of the Pope,
Yes.
who made quite a lot of trouble, and that is the medal to commemorate that moment. That they decided with the Vatican Council that the Pope was infallible.
Yes.
He could not mistake when he was speaking ex cathedra, under several conditions. And here you see the Zouaves
Yes.
marching before the cardinals.
I love that picture. That's a really great one.
But you find them in books, but
Yes.
these are the original from that moment.
I haven't seen that one actually.
Yeah. And here,
No, Fall of Rome.
but that medal special too. Eh?
Yeah.
from that moment. And then you have Bixi, the general, the famous Italian general, who was running after the chariot when he escaped from Viterbo through the mountains to Civitavecchia. You know the story, and so on. And then you have the attack of the Porta Pia, other gates. That are the newspapers from those days. On the balustrades.
Yeah.
And you see that photograph, the original photograph taken, let's say, the day after. And from that, they made the famous gravures taken in the newspaper.
So this photo right here is staged. It's a stage photo the Italians took after.
It's the original picture that they took, and then they made a gravure for the newspapers. And then it's a picture too, but a reproduction of the gate, and that was an Italian ambulance for the wounded.
Yeah.
And then you have, of course, some who died, zonen and so on. That was to commemorate the fall of Rome by the Italian Post, and an Italian medal for the heroes who fought against the Pope, and to make an end at the territory of the Pope. They became that medal.
I wouldn't call those heroes.
Yeah, a bit. And you see the Bersaglieri with the Italian flag. And, of course, the Zouaves had to surrender. And you see all the high officers, Alet.
It's a propaganda picture from the Piedmontese.
Yes, laughing with them. Laughing with them. Papa Alet and...
you can see Charette in the center. Alet is the larger one on the right.
You can't miss them.
Kansler on the left.
Them. And then was the moment to say goodbye to the Pope and have the last blessing. And that's from a newspaper of the day with the troops, the Zouaves, marching on. That was the end. And, of course, you have then Italian cards from that moment. Once the Italians entered, they had a decree, original decree, that Rome was annexed. And I have letters to make arrangement that they had to give food to the horses and so on and so on. And then you have the first stamps, of course, but the stamps to commemorate that. And that was November the 5th, they arrived in Belgium and went to Holland and to Belgium, the Zouaves.
Yeah, the ones that were returning home.
And all of the month, they published above sad news of the town. All the Zouaves coming back from Rome will meet us at that moment, at that place, in a week. And that's the report of the foundation, 6 November the 6th, 1870, of Pro Petri Sede in the Cathedral of Antwerp, because their chaplain, Sacré, was deacon of the cathedral, meanwhile.
And it was meant to protest...
Sacré, the first commander, the officers...
of the Pro Petri Sede.
And behind the stamp of the association, Pius Genootschap, Pius Society Pro Petri Sede Antwerp.
So the association was originally formed to protest... Yes, it was formed originally to protest the loss of the Papal States.
And then it were the first letters from 71, the first secretary, and all those who were involved, who died, their card memories. And a famous was there.
Number 27.
He said that he was a servant, but it was not. and that was a tiara given to the Pope by the Belgian Catholics, and so on, and so on. But then you have a letter, handwritten by the Charette,
Oh, wow.
to recruit volunteers in the Provence to come to Bretagne to fight with the voluntary West. He was allowed, he asked the minister if he could be allowed to recruit volunteers in the Provence. And that was his letter, and approved by the minister. The original letter.
So,
This is,
so this was for recruiting in France?
in France.
Okay, in France.
The south of France, Provence, Marseille, Nice, Arles, etc. And that is a famous painting from the Charette at Loigny, as you saw the photograph in Oude too, made by Lionel Royer. And here you have that famous portrait with blessed the wounded soldiers from Loigny, with a sister, but in a postcard with explanation. And this was a letter, an envelope, sent to a volunteer de l'Ouest. There you see his address and so on.
And the sister here, the recap for people who might not see the other video, she told the German officers, you will let us pass with the wound.
Everything is in catalog,
Yes.
number 4. And then you have a medal to commemorate and the praying card when the Zouaves were consecrated to the Holy Heart of Jesus, Sacred Heart of Jesus. You see there a little flag, a banner, and then that is the original, and the prayer book, made by the Gerlach. And then, as you saw yesterday, the medal of the war, the German-French war, with the attachment of the volunteers. Then you have the Wils with the Carlist. Here you have the Bourdon, who was an officer at the Zouaves in Rome. You have Ignace, you have another volunteer in August, and that's a gravure from those
Siege of
days,
Aguilera.
the original gravure from those days, as you saw the painting. And what's important, that's all the series of all the stamps from the Carlists. The Carlists had their own stamps, and that's all the collection.
And this is the Siege of Aguilera was when Ignace Wils, the Dutch Zouave who was leading the Cardinal Zouave Battalion, threw the flag over the barricade during that battle and said the Zouaves go where the flags go. The Zouaves went over the barricade, they were victorious, but Ignace died during that.
Of course. You see the importance of that banner of
The Sacred
the Sacred Heart. When the Zouave died, he took it on his memory card, for example. And here you have the officers from the Volunteers de l'Ouest, together with the chaplain, the Gerlach. There's a picture when they said adieu, finishing in early in 71. And then Pio IX died. Now, the first, perhaps, this is a song written, a poem written by Janssens, when the missionary Zouaves left for Africa. And then you have the memory cards and the letter of the Pope when he died. Pictures, and of course, and that was in Malines, in Mechelen. They had a special card asking the people of that day
to protest
for the process, decorate your home with flags of the Pope and so on. And that is...
to celebrate the Pope Pius IX.
Yes, that was the great mass for the soul of Pio IX in the Cathedral of Antwerp, and I have the original in my collection. Dead parts and so on, etc. But this is a relic of the Sultan, the second order, and that was brought by a Zouave.
Oh, so the second class relic of
See,
Pope Pius IX.
in the cross, you have the explanation on number 23.
Oh, wow.
From the Sultan.
And then we have...
That is the first class. A piece of bone
Oh, wow.
of Pio IX with the attestation from the Vatican that is real. In fact, it will be downstairs at the altar, but they don't like it.
They don't like the relics at the altar. That makes no sense. That's where it belongs.
These are relics too, second class. And then medals when he died, etc., etc. He was buried into St. Peter's temporary.
Yes.
And then they made the tomb in the church at Camposanto.
Yes.
And by night, the body was transmitted from the Vatican to the church. And they had to defend him because the Italian tried to steal the body to keep
and to throw it in the river.
in the river.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, but while the original resting place...
That is a big medal to commemorate his beatification.
Yes. So
And that's the evolution of the tomb. First older and nowadays this was as it was, but since he has his beatification, it's a new man. And then you have Leo XIII, which is Benemerenti medals, and the Pro Ecclesia that he founded and other medals, but especially the first Pro Ecclesia et Pontifical. Above you have the medals of Benemerenti, and then you have Basmot.
this is the home of
To celebrate 25 years of regiment, they offered a little castle to the chariot with a chapel.
Oh, so they gave him this chapel.
More than a dozen different postcards from both sides of the castle. And that's a card for invitation
But you're
to
saying...
come to Basmot.
But you're saying Basmont was given as a gift to Charette from the regiment?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
For thanking him for his service.
yeah.
Okay.
By occasion of 25 years. So you have a portrait of the chariot as a general, French general. You have the postcard signed by the chariot
Yeah.
with his signature. Then you have the newspaper from that time with a gravure picture of the celebration of the Mass before the big banquet and festivity dinner. And there you have the program and invitation.
And this was...
They founded a confrérie of the Holy Heart, Sacred Heart,
A confraternity,
Jesus, in the chapel, and that is the reglement.
So the chapel and Basmont was given as a gift to
Basmont.
Charette after the fighting, and then on the 25 years later they had an anniversary to celebrate the
That was the occasion to do the gift.
Yes. Oh, so it was, okay, this whole
That
thing was to
was it,
celebrate.
yeah.
Okay.
All is said, And then you had here the
Number 7.
the vitrai, the glasses given by Francis II, second of Naples, and here of the Zouaves.
Yes.
But it was so damaged that I could enter through the window.
So you entered through the window here.
Through the window.
What
and,
year?
And there, I think it was 75, around 75, but you have to write a day
And
year into catalog.
And what you're saying is that servant of God Francis II gave these stained glass windows to General
when
Charette.
they erected the chapel.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was the lower part of the glass of the Zouaves with the coat of arms of the Pope, but disappeared, destroyed. But the tiara is still there, and then the text of Pio IX and the Zouaves Pontificaux, and the signature that it was created by Lionel Royer.
Oh,
That's very important, of course. So I saved, and it's perhaps the only thing that is still existing from everything, because the oldest chapel is demolished on today.
It was demolished.
And this was the hotel, but you see in what situation it was. It was to stop destroyed. But it seems that it are the only pictures of the interior. And then you have the prisoner of the Vatican. Mm-hmm. He was in the Vatican, and then the old Zouaves became have honest positions, as you have here, and these are all the functions in the Vatican and all the procession of the Pope. And that is from the original book, where you have that copy in Oudenbos, and this is the original from that book with the uniforms of the Zouaves. The État Major, but you have, okay, I have the Zouaves too, but I don't see them directly. And here, État Major, with the charrette and alettes, and here all the uniforms, and you have the Noble Guard, the Swiss Guard, you have the different uniforms, and the brothers of the chariot.
Yes.
4 of the
number 30.
One is missing. One is missing there. And then you have the story in Africa, again at the poem, and from Janssens and from a Dutchman too, to celebrate the departure of the first volunteers going to Africa, Central Africa. You see the missionary, and then the portraits and the memory cards from those who died in Africa. Here, authentical gravure too, and the coin of that time.
So these were all African missionaries who were part of the White Fathers. Most of those were Belgian.
The Zouaves who went with the White Fathers to Central Africa.
And they defended them from Arab slave traders.
Yeah. Yes, they
and then some of them became priests after, correct?
Yes. I have that book about Metz here.
Yes.
He was the Zouave from Maastricht. He went afterwards with Joubert to Algiers to become a Zouave missionary, but there was not enough money, so a part had to stay there, and he could go with Joubert to Central Africa. So he became a father, a friar of the White Fathers, and afterwards he traveled with the famous Vinke, a very famous man, here in the Netherlands, in the Flemish part of the country. They went with the caravan, and I have all the story of that caravan in that book. And that is Paps, and that's Famille.
So for number 8, is that the uniform they would wear while they were defending them, the Arab slave traders?
Yes, with White Fathers.
Oh, it's a uniform of the White Fathers.
Yes.
So with the White Fathers, they were all priests, correct?
Yeah.
So, but did they actually pick up rifles to fight the slave?
I have a plate with the uniforms of the missionary Zouaves.
Okay.
But I don't think that it was in reality that they used that uniform. It was created perhaps, but it wasn't
really used.
Used.
So the Zouaves that
didn't use. It's possible, but I will not speak out about their uniform. I didn't make a study about it.
Okay.
Here you have Vinke who died, the memory card from that time. And a year later, because it took some time, because they knew it, there was a mass by the old Zouaves, Pro Petri Sede of Kortrijk, for his soul. And they made a new memory card. And then you had the Leo XIII who died, and that was the celebration of in the cathedral, the big mass for Leo XIII. And then you have in Utrecht the big, oh yeah, that was the big mass in the cathedral of Antwerp with the catafalque when the chancellor died, and here you have a memory card.
You can see the different medals too, that the papal medals.
Yeah, and that is a bill for the, it was rather expensive. This was made, let's say, 1871, to put in the banner of Pro Petri Sede. And we still use it in the cathedral, a block too. And then you have all those associations with the reglement of the association of the Old Zouaves, the Brotherhood of Amsterdam. And here you have that miniature as a jewel, the Pio IX, the Mentana, and the Benemerenti of 91 on a golden chain. Nice. And then the famous reunion in Mentana festivity in 92 in Utrecht, which you see how much they were.
So this was the anniversary of the Battle of Mentana.
Yeah. 1,500 Zouaves in Utrecht.
Wow.
Yeah. And they collected money for the poor Zouaves with such cards that they sold. With, you see, the flag, red and white of the Zouaves. The old flag of the Pope. And then you have 25 years of Pro Petri Sede with a festivity in Antwerp, in Kortrijk, etc. And here you have Janssens again that we had when he became a commander of Gregorius. And then you had in 91 the medal, Benemerenti, and the little one, but with the wrong color, ribbon, you see. And then in 1911, the new in silver. That are the two different. These are the different associations, celebrities. And so you have a good idea of those processions with the small youth as Zouaves in Zouave uniforms. And in the Flemish College, you had, as they had in Canada, boy scouts, but they called Zouaves. And they did military exercises, and they played the Castelfidardo, they played Mentana, and so on.
So they would do different plays to commemorate the battles.
And that's a memory of Pimodan. And then behind you see the monument of Oudenbos, with the two Ebeners and
Number
helmets.
15.
And the old Zouaves in front of an original picture, photograph of that day.
Oh, wow.
And a special thing is that in 1911, the same year, that was a year of festivities, and that Charette died, they made stamps.
Oh, to commemorate.
Stamps for the Charette. And this was a letter posted in the Belgian post with the stamp of the post office of Veurne. It passed the Belgian post with the stamps of the Charette in 1911. It's crazy, huh? And that was my night of Sylvester, and then commander of Sylvester.
And number 20.
And then you have the announcement of the charrette who died and so on. And then you have Pio Vies and then Lutjebroek for the young, Peter de Jong.
Yeah.
Inauguration, the newspapers from those days, original, and so on and so on. That's more or less, let's say, the history of the old. But that is a very nice picture of the old Dutch Zouave.
Yes.
A very nice picture. I don't know if the original is in Oudenbosch, but it's a very nice one. And then you have the museum in Brussels, inaugurated in early 20. The Love Zouaves in Kortrijk.
Yes. Number 19.
Yeah. And then Van Leeuwen, the last chaplain of the Dutch Zouaves.
25.
Yeah. And then when the last died, he closed the door. When the state of Vatican was created, with the sign Mussolini signed the first stamps, the coins, etc., etc. But that is, let's say, modern. Interesting is the calotte of Vion.
Oh, yes. The Caputo
12.
Pio 9.
Pio 12. That.
Oh, the Pius XII.
Yeah.
That's one for Pius XII.
Yeah,
Okay.
Pio 12. Yeah.
Interesting.
And that was from Italy to Belgium with the stamp of Basilica of Koekelberg, but by plane. Was something new in those days. The post by plane. And that was done. Okay. That's all new. The different popes and the evolution of the society of the old Zouaves. The first number of the magazine. And then here the celebrations when we were invited at the Pope. Here the commemorations. In the 1960, we had the hotel
Yeah, the altar that's
that
down.
we gave,
Yes.
and then we had 100 years Mentana with the Ruku died, a new commemorative card. Here the first reunion of the Dutch in Holland, in Oudenbosch. You see, and that is then the stamps. That was in 71, when it was 100 years. I assisted that day.
So,
And here you have,
so for those that don't know, in the Koekelberg Cathedral, there is a
it's
altar.
a basilica, not the
Excuse
cathedral.
me, thank you.
You know, it's
basilica.
a
you're-
Catholic, but
It's a
not that
basilica. It's dedicated. There's an altar dedicated to the Papal Zouaves that you can find on the.
It was a
right-hand
gift
side.
for the century of 100 year Pro Petri Sede. But this is something interesting for you too, as Americans. There you have the Benemerentes, medals evolution, but the Swiss Guard, the Gendarmerie with their medals. Here, the couple for the Gendarmerie original. But there you have Trudeau, the commander of the Canadian Association of Zouaves.
Yes, it was used to keep the memory of the Zouaves.
I have
alive.
contact with him. That is his portrait. And the medal of the Union Alette for the Canadian Association of Zouaves. And below, you have the medal that I became too in 85 from the Zouaves from Thuin. And here you see how they are in uniform and they are in procession. The newspaper and a, well, let's say a folkloric card that they made. L'Association, that's from Quebec, the magazine of the Zouaves in Canada. L'Avant-Garde is the new one of the Zouaves in France. So that is the international context.
The international groups that were used to keep the memory of the Papal
Yes.
Zouaves alive.
We are for Benelux, Holland, Belgium, Luxembourg. You have l'avant-garde for the French. You had, because they stopped early, let's say 75, 1975, the Canadians stopped. It was the l'association. And then, nowadays, you have the Zouaves of Thuin, going marching in procession, who were here with our celebration. And now, since a year, you have the peloton Zouaves of Morlanway to go in the processions. And so that is keeping alive.
Now we have the last.
Yes, here you have, let's say, John II. That's important. We were in audience, private audience, every 2 years with the Pope, inside the Vatican, in a local, not the Basilica, etc., but in private, only us. And I arranged, in 2003, we went to the Pope, and the Pope gave his discourse, the words that he spoke, on a paper, signed by himself.
Oh, awesome.
That is the signature of the Pope himself, that he gave me as his pronunciated words. And of course, the ladies became a white, and the man a black. And so you have here Paul John, the other from the other popes, Benedict, and so on. That's always fun. And here you see that was for 150 year Zouaves.
Yes.
In 10.
Yeah, number 27.
In 10. And here was the big ceremony for 150 years. That's the association. But here you have some. And that was the medal we stuck to commemorate the 150 years of Pro Petri Sede with the popes and the dedication. You see here with all the banners.
Yeah, number 33.
Prince Laurent of Belgium, Cardinal Mamberti. Here. And that's different. Okay.
I recognize this person.
Yes, I know him. I know him.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Vaguely familiar, yeah. It looks a little,
Yes, but that's to give an idea. Oh yeah, that's perhaps interesting. Oh yeah, that's when I was in Nijmegen to give a conference about the Zouaves. And here you had a conference in Brussels with Queen Paula, who assisted. The Prince Laurent of Belgium, Queen Paula, and here we were received at the embassy, at the Nunciature here in Brussels. And this was when we were received by Prince de Merode in Rijkswanssaar. And Rijkswanssaar was the castle that belonged to Monsignor de Merode.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So I guess
So you have a slide ID, and then we have a cat,
yes.
the uniform. Here we have a Zouave in a costume. Not that complete as you have in Oudenbos, but okay. But what's important that is the kepi is from Laniel. The truths are from the Piemontese.
The what's from the Piedmontese?
The holes.
The holes. Oh.
And you see Peter Laniel here. That's card, original and a bit large to see. He was a hero and wounded in Castelfidardo. And there you have Schutgens, the Dutch. He started as a Dutchman to become Italian in Rome as a Zouave, who came to Belgium Limburg to become a Limburg, and who became president of the Association of Old Zouaves in Antwerp, so he was from Antwerp. So, What is nationality? Difficult, that.
Yeah.
Holland, Rome, Belgium, Limburg, Antwerp. So you see, that's a good. And then, of course, you have Peter Young, a little statue and photograph, picture reproduction. But I have the original over there.
So with this
So to give you
uniform,
an idea, and of course a medal with Ronald.
Montana medal.
And missing here the chain with the pin
Yeah.
to Portugal.
So this is Peter Laniel.
Daniel, yeah, the kepi.
Oh, the
And that
kepi.
kepi was 18 September 1860 on the battlefield.
Oh, I see what you're
Castelfidardo.
saying. So this kepi was on the
This
battlefield of
was on the
Castelfidardo.
battlefield of
Wow,
Castelfidardo.
just the kepi.
That's a detail, but important.
Yes, definitely, very important.
Ja. Zijn er niet zoveel, denk ik.
Dat denk ik.
Nee. Ik ben wel moeite gekost om het te bemachtigen.
Wow. And this is a private Zouave uniform, though.
Yes.
You could tell by
But
the
honestly,
sides.
you are better in Koekelberg.
Yes.
Ja. In Oudenbos.
Yes.
You are better in Oudenbos.
It was still, this is very impressive. It
But
has the
it's
Montana
an
cross.
idea, and okay, it's a good uniform, huh?
Yeah.
But there are little details
Yeah.
missing, huh?
And then we
Yeah,
have a
that
good
is,
portrait over here.
To give an idea about the uniforms, but that's not that important. Eh? But it's especially the kepi that is important. And pieces we have, we know from whom they belonged.
Yes, because their number was stamped inside.
Inside the
So you
place.
should always know who it's from.
From we. Yeah.
Yes, so you can see from who is the jacket, from who is the trousers. From
Yeah.
we know exactly who it is.
Yeah.
Well, which pieces are.
And so that's the end of the tour.
All right, thank you so much for going on this tour with us, the Mr. Lieven's private collection. As you can see, there's a lot of details. Every item has a lot of history associated with it. If you want to learn more, please visit papalzouave.com, watch our other YouTube videos, or please check out either Mr. Lieven's work or my work on the Papal Zouaves. We have a couple books that are out. You can find more information on papalzouave.com.
It's a small selection, but I see that you have the colors of the certificate. Yes, but that's not a good one. You're missing the tiara and the keys. So I give you, that's a good one from Pro Petri Sede.
Thank you. I appreciate
That
it.
we made for the 150th century.
Where can we find more information about Pro Petri Sede?
You can, you can find it on the website, Facebook, all those things. You find all information in the magazine, Pro Petri Sede, and you have more than one.
Okay.
So you can find it there. We have Facebook, website. I'm an old antique, so I'm not very handsome with all those modern things. I'm the last survivor of the association from the years 1960. So I saw everybody coming and passing away. And so now it's I hands over everything to the youth, the younger generations, and it is their mission to keep warm the memory of the Zouaves who went from Holland, Belgium, Luxembourg, France, Canada, and some Native Americans to defend the Pope. I think that's a good idea.
Well, we're going to do our
Thank
best.
you.
Thank you very much.
That you, as a young man, will do that effort and keep warm the ideals of the Zouaves.
We'll do our best. Thank you very much.
I hope
Blessed,
so.
blessed Pope Pius
Bless
IX,
you.
pray for us. Our Lady Immaculate Conception, pray for us.